From the Jennings Communication Building on the campus of Dixie State University, this is Trailblazer Weekly, starring Carrick Segmiller and Drayson Ball.
Welcome inside Trailblazer Weekly on this fantastic Wednesday afternoon. It's a little bit rainy outside last night, chance of rain today. A lot of you are thinking I'm crazy because I'm saying it's a fantastic Wednesday, but hey, we're in St. George, Utah. It doesn't rain that often, so we got to take it when we can get it. Great day outside today in the 60s to 60 degrees range, a perfect spring day. And it is time for some Trailblazer Weekly here on your Trailblazer Athletics Network. We are live on CEC TV, Radio Dixie 91.3 FM, and as well on the Dixie State Athletics YouTube page. I am Carrick Segmiller, flying solo today. As you can see, I've had my All By Myself playlist playing most of the week. Drayson Ball not able to be here today, attending to a family matter. We wish him and his family all the best as they attend to that matter. He'll be back in a couple of weeks. We won't have a show next week because it is spring break. And yes, Drayson and I and all the CEC staff, along with the students here at Dixie State University, we need a break too. So we're going to take a break next week. So programming note, mark it down on your calendar for next week, a week from today, which would be March 18th. No Trailblazer Weekly. So don't be sitting on your phone or at your TV next week on TDS Cable Channel 108 at 3 p.m. expecting to have a show, because there won't be one there. There might be one, but it would probably be a rerun. There's not going to be a live show next week. This is the part of the show which I have been doing. Just been bantering by myself, just been blabbering here for a few minutes. That's where Drayson and I usually banter about something fun or exciting. In the last few seconds before we kick off into our Blazer beat, I do just want to say, if you haven't heard the news, it hasn't quite affected Dixie State University yet, but NCAA President Mark Emmert just released a statement literally minutes before we came on the show today that the NCAA tournament will be played without fans. It will feature limited family and essential staff. So that is definitely relevant, as it is the NCAA president coming out making that decision. Will that decision trickle on down and affect Dixie State events for the rest of the year? We don't know at this point. We will stay tuned and we will let you know as soon as we know. Serious stuff with the coronavirus continuing to spread and you're just not knowing, how bad it's going to get. So if you had tickets to the NCAA tournament somewhere, wish you the best of luck and try to find a refund and, find somewhere to watch the games online or on your television. It's still going to be exciting. It has to be exciting. It's the madness of March, right? It's craziness. So let's move on to our Blazer beat. We'll let you know everything that's going on inside Dixie State Athletics and around campus. We start on the basketball court this week. How could we not? Men's, women's basketball first on the men's side, falling in the RMAC semifinals at Colorado Mesa on Friday, 86-79. In that game, and then they had to play the waiting game. They did indeed get into the NCAA tournament at the number 3 seed, and they will take on, drumroll please, RMAC foe, Colorado School of Mines in Canyon, Texas on Saturday. That's March 14th. It'll be a 1 p.m. Mountain Time tip, 12 p.m. Central Time tip. You kind of hate to see it matched up against a conference foe, but it's a good matchup for Dixie State, and that's kind of the Division II way with these more centralized regional aspects. Women's basketball falling 65-53 to Westminster, the in-state rival in the RMAC semifinals on last week. They will finish the season 18-12 overall. Excuse me. That would be a fantastic season. 18-12 overall. Still was a fantastic season. 12-10 in the RMAC. The most wins since the 2011-2012 season. And head coach J.D. Gustin and his team have gotten better by a couple of wins each and every year. Can't wait to see what they do at the Division I level. Baseball, they go 4-0 against Adams State at Bruce Hurst Field last week, outscoring the Grizzlies 62-6. Yes, 62-6 over that 4-game slate. They won game 1 9-1, and then 22-2, 23-2, and then 8-1 in the finale. They batted .407 as a team, and they are now ranked in the top 10 at number 9 in the NCBWA top 25. Softball, on the other hand, went to Colorado Springs, Colorado, and went 2 out of 4 games, go 2 for 2 in Colorado Springs. A total of 16 home runs were hit in the 4-game series between the two teams. They fell 8-5 in Game 1, then won 6-3 in Game 2, fell 7-1 in Game 3, and then earned the split with a 6-2 victory in Game 4. They'll be back at Carl Brooks Field this weekend. Women's golf, 5th place at the UMSL Invitational. The first event that they'd been to in the spring, and they held play. They were in 5th after the first day, and they held tight at 5th throughout the week. A good start for Coach Stuckey and the women's golf program. Men's golf, on the other hand, 2nd place at the NDNU Invitational. We're in 1st after the first 18 holes, and then dropped to 3rd after the next go-around of the 18, and then moved up to 2nd yesterday. They finished in 2nd place. That's their first event at really an all Division II field, so things are looking up for the Trailblazers as they kick off their spring schedule. Women's swimming, wrapping up our Blazer beat. Hannah Hansen and Kelsey Wright competing right now, this week, at the NCAA Division II Championships in Geneva, Ohio. So stay tuned to DixieStateAthletics.com for all the updates from the NCAA Division II National Swim Championships, and we'll keep you updated throughout the week and let you know in a couple of weeks how those two swimmers did. Exciting. First time the Trailblazers have ever had more than one swimmer at the Division II Championship, so congratulations to them. That is our Blazer Beat, and that will wrap that portion of our first segment up for us. Now time to move on to our Player of the Week. Campus Store Player of the Week feature, and I mentioned the baseball scores. Did I not? Outscoring the Grizzlies 62-6 over that 4-game set. Senior infielder Jake Engel. He was named Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference Player of the Week and NCBWA Hitter of the Week, and he is our Campus Store Player of the Week here on the show this week. Batted an even .500, went 7-14 at the plate, led Dixie State with 2 home runs in the series, 10 RBIs, 7 runs scored. He drew 4 hit-by pitches. I mean, when you hit that well, you're bound to get hit every once in a while. He posted a 1.071 slugging percentage and a 611 on-base percentage to go with an OPS off the charts, 1.682. So congratulations to Jake Engel, our Campus Store Player of the Week, to go along with his RMAC Player of the Week and NCBWA Hitter of the Week honors this week. Keep it up, Jake, and the baseball team. We will be pulling for you going forward. That is our Campus Store Player of the Week. And let's stay on the baseball diamond as we wrap up this first segment. Normally we would go into our question of the day and then our by the numbers a little bit later, but let's just segue into more baseball talk with our Rock Canyon Bank by the numbers feature. Staying on the baseball diamond, the baseball team, and I mentioned this in the Blazer Beat, they went out and had a field day against Adams State on last weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A 4-game set. They scored 8 runs in Game 1, 20 runs in Game 2. These are the margin of victory. So in those games, let me rewind a little bit. I'm doing this by myself today. It's been a little while, so just bear with me. 9-1 win in Game 1, 22-2 win in Game 2, 23-2 win in Game 3, and an 8-1 win in Game 4. So if you were doing your math at home on your calculator, that's an 8-run win in Game 1, a 20-run win in Game 2, 21-run win in Game 3, and a 7-run win in Game 4. So the big number is over that 4-game set, Dixie State with an average margin of victory of over 14 runs. The Trailblazers scored 62 runs, batted .407 as a team, slugged .630 as a team, 512 on base percentage as a team, but it wasn't just pitching. The Trailblazers with an ERA of under 1, a team ERA, 0.84 for the Trailblazers in that series. So that is your Rock Canyon Bank by the numbers feature, which leads right into our question of the day. And it's something that I've been wondering for a long, long time, and especially since I've worked here at Dixie State full-time and been the softball scorekeeper. Because you know when you're at a softball game and one team is dominating, you look up to the scoreboard and you look for that 8-run mercy rule after the 5th inning. In softball, if a team is up by 8 runs or more after 5 innings, game's over. That's it. And so the question is, number one, why don't they do that in baseball? And should they do that in NCAA baseball? That is the question of the day. Should the NCAA implement a mandatory run rule or a mercy rule, depending on how savage you want to sound about it? You know, are you making your opponents beg for mercy? Should the NCAA institute a mandatory run rule in baseball, in college baseball? And I would think the answer to that is yes. Absolutely yes. Now, I know all of you baseball purists listening or watching out there may not agree with that sentiment right off the bat, and maybe I will never convince you of this argument. But let me tell you this. If you look in the NCAA rulebook, there is already a statute or a rule, if you will, Section 79 in the NCAA baseball rulebook. It says, and I quote, by conference rule or mutual consent of both coaches before the contest, a game may be stopped only after 7 innings if one team is ahead by at least 10 runs. So there's already something in the NCAA baseball rulebook saying, hey, if your conference wants to make this rule, or if both coaches agree on it, then you can do it. So why not just do it? I mean, there's never going to be 2 coaches that just say before the game, yeah, I agree to that. Why not just do it? Here's my argument. If there's a 10-run game after 7 innings, could a team come back from that deficit? Yeah, it's not impossible. Is it likely? No. What is going to be accomplished in those final 2 innings that's so important to play those 2 innings? And I'm out here, I'm just blabbing by myself about this. Drayson's gone. I'm feeling like I need some help out here. Will someone come out here and debate this with me, or at least agree with me and make me feel better about this? Because, here comes Jeremy right now. Someone did listen. He came out from the control room. Jeremy, we got like 2 minutes left on this segment.
All right.
But am I crazy? Am I crazy for thinking this? I mean, what would be accomplished in the final 2 innings of an NCAA baseball game if it's a 10-run game already? Why can't we just institute a mandatory run rule, mercy rule? 10 runs after 7 innings. I think that's totally fair. Let's put it in ink. Let's get Mark Emmert, the NCAA president, to sign off on this, and let's do it. What do you think? Do you disagree?
I mean, I think it's a good idea. I think you can obviously see where the coaches and players come from in that argument. I mean, you don't want to take their competitive nature away or their willingness to fight back into a game, even if they're down by 15 or 20 runs. But I do agree with you. And
you and I were talking about this before the show, actually. You played junior college basketball, so you played college basketball. And your question that you posed to me was, well, if they do that in baseball, when is that going to trickle over to basketball? You know, what about those 50-point games down the stretch? And I think the difference there is at least basketball already has a time limit.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking, if you look at Dixie State this weekend, thank goodness, both games they scored over 20 runs in and had those 10-run leads in were already scheduled 7-inning games because the RMAC does 2 7s on their doubleheader day. Thank goodness it wasn't a 9 and a 7 because you would have been sitting there in a 20-run baseball game and having to play 2 more innings that could, the way things were going, it could have taken another hour and a half. So, am I crazy? Just talk me off the ledge here. Am I crazy for thinking this? I know baseball purists are probably gonna get angry at me, and I hope we get some angry mail. Please send me hate mail because that, number one, I know you're watching then, and I know you're listening. I know you're there. And then number 2, I love this debate. I love this question. We're out of time here. We don't have a ton more time on it. But am I crazy for thinking this?
I don't think you are. No, I think it's completely fair to say that if a team's down by more than 10 runs after 7, you can call the game and, expect the outcome. Yeah.
I'm also not crazy to think that as this thing in the NCAA rulebook says, no 2 college coaches are going to get together before the game and say, hey, Coach Fatenauer and the Adams State coach, they're just chatting before the game. Hey, and Fate says, hey, by the way, if we get up by 10 runs after 7 innings, are you okay if we just call it? He's not going to agree to that.
No coach is going to.
They're not going to agree to that.
No way.
So MTA, let's come over the top. We got staff work in these games. We got the student athletes that are at the games that maybe are missing class and have things that they need to do. They're not professional athletes yet. Doesn't mean they're not as talented as a professional athlete. And then we've got staff working at the game as well. namely our CEC TV staff that has to sit there and film a 5-hour baseball game. So anyway, I got off on a tangent there. I had to bring you out because I wanted to make sure, test the temperature on this and make sure that I just am not crazy. So hopefully it's something that we can see in the future, because I think it only makes the game better. And that's what they're looking at. Major League Baseball, college baseball, you're looking to make the game better, to make the game more viable, because it's losing popularity, depending on who you talk to football and basketball and things like that, whereas it used to be America's pastime. So I'm way over my time on the break here, but I've been stewing on this one for a while. So thanks for coming out and helping me out on that one for a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
He's Jeremy Joseph. You see him during our Know Your Foe segments, and he does a great job. We've got a great crew of staff and students helping us on the show. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to transition from the baseball diamond, and we're going to bring Mike Olson in, Dixie State Associate Athletic Director, also serves as color commentator voice on the men's basketball games. We're going to break down this weekend, break down the bracket, who's Dixie State opponent, what can we expect this weekend. So that's coming up next on Trailblazer Weekly.
Radio Dixie 91.3. We don't play that. Nope, not that. A big fat no there. That's what we play. And stuff like that. On St. George's only alternative, Radio Dixie 91.3. Oh, and from 9 till midnight, we play this. I need a one dance. And this. Radio Dixie 91.3 FM.
Talk about how with technology you can make amazing worlds. Come with me. My team and I groomed the Halo world to life.
Is that you?
That is me. I wasn't a math genius and I knew nothing about coding. But you guys do. You guys have the power to change things.
I want your job.
I want you to have my job.
There is a place where rocks bleed and nature blushes on a battlefield green with envy, where dimples determine destiny, and a tiny wooden tee holds the outcome in the balance. There is a place where friends are opponents, and opponents are friends, where the prize is elusive, the conquest is captivating, and the score isn't settled till the drinks are down. There is a place.
Radio Dixie 91.3. Young the Giant, something to believe in.
John, what song do you want to hear?
Next, Miss Calendris. You'll be on the SWAT team, the SWAT team.
Did a fantastic situation. I was going to talk to you last time.
Forest Ranger Betty White here, lending a hand to my dear friend Smokey Bear. Because for 75 years, he's only said,
only you can prevent wildfires.
But there's a lot more to say. Like if you park your car on tall, dry grass, the hot exhaust pipe can start a wildfire. So keep the animals safe, especially the cute shirtless one. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Today's show is brought to you by the Dixie State Campus Store, the official source for DSU Trailblazer clothing, providing students with textbooks, as well as educational, office, and art supplies. Located on the second floor of the Gardner Center, the Dixie State Campus Store, proud sponsor of Trailblazer Weekly.
Welcome back inside Trailblazer Weekly on this Wednesday afternoon. Carrick Segmiller flying solo today. Drayson Ball is not able to join us, but we have Mike Olson, Dixie State Associate Athletic Director and men's basketball color commentator, analysis, knower of all things basketball, joining us on the show today as we look forward. We'll just dive right into it. We look forward to the men's basketball team heading down to Canyon, Texas. For those of you that don't know exactly where that's at, that is closest to Amarillo, right? Yeah. Am I right? In terms of where Canyon, Texas is.
Geographically, yes.
If you're trying to pinpoint the nearest bigger spot, that'd be Amarillo. Down there in Texas. West Texas A&M is the host school. The Buffs only lost one game all year. But let's talk Dixie State. Trailblazers, obviously, we were all there, falling in the semifinals on Friday, 86-79 to Colorado Mesa. And I think some people kind of looked at it almost like a, oh no, the sky is falling type of a situation. I didn't feel that way necessarily, but should there have been? I didn't think so. I think it's, you get another day of rest, and you won the regular season title. Did you want to win the tournament title? Sure. But guess what? Now we get a chance to go play for a region title instead of just the RMAC tournament title. And I think they'll learn some things from how the game went on Friday. And, you hate to play a conference team in your first round matchup, but, I feel like Dixie State does match up well with Colorado School of Mines. It's an intriguing matchup. Looking at the teams around them, you don't see anyone necessarily in that bracket that Dixie State couldn't beat one time. So I think there's plenty to be excited for with Dixie State going down to the NCAA South Central Regionals this weekend.
Absolutely.
Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you wake up this morning, the significance of that loss last Friday night really isn't there because they're still a 3 seed. They didn't move up. They didn't move down. That didn't hurt them. They're playing an opponent that they know that they can easily prepare for. They are very comfortable in that role, and they got the extra day rest. Now, if you want to look at it from another perspective, yeah, that's one less game that you have statistically. If you're guys like Jack Pagenkoff looking to get some separation in that single season scoring title.
Yeah.
But really, that stuff's insignificant. For Dixie, they have a chance now to go to Canyon, Texas, regroup, and it's a one day at a time season now. You win, you advance. You lose, you go home, and you get a chance to play in March. Last opportunity as a Division II school, a great opportunity.
When you go and you look at that box score from Friday night, and I said we weren't going to dwell on it too long, but it's relevant. I mean, you look at it. Dixie State shot 52% from the field, 31% from three, which isn't terrible, but it was the free throw line and then the 3-point disparity where Colorado Mesa got real hot in the first half, whereas when they met in St. George in January, Colorado Mesa couldn't hit from outside to save their lives. So when you look at it and you go, it's a 7-point loss, missed free throws, 3-point disparity there. That's really where the differences were. If you're trying to find a reason for the loss, you can probably provide some more insight on that. What do you pinpoint when you say they lost because of this and this and this?
I would say number one, overall team defense. It was they just when they needed those crucial stops, they could not get them right. And give Mesa credit, they hit big shots. They hit big shots when they needed them, and there's a difference, Carrick, between having really good defense and forcing them to miss and them just missing shots. And they weren't missing shots. They were hitting shots, and the overall team defense for Dixie State just was not there.
Let's move on. Let's look at this weekend specifically. We can talk first about this matchup, and we can take a look at the overall bracket for Dixie State going down there. Of course, West Texas A&M is the host, as you TV and internet viewers you get to see on your screen. 3 RMAC schools into the tournament. If you're looking at it from the RMAC perspective, it was a positive of Colorado Mesa winning the conference tournament. You get 3 schools in Mesa, Mines, and Dixie State. Mesa does have to turn around as the 8th seed. They play West Texas A&M. The 4-5 matchup is Angelo State and Texas A&M Kingsville. The 2-7 matchup is St. Edwards and Dallas Baptist. And the 3-6 matchup is Dixie State and Colorado School of Mines. Before we talk too much about the Colorado School of Mines matchup, there are some that, you're looking at it and you're saying, how much difference is there between the 6th and the 7th seed that you couldn't have just tweaked something to have Dixie State play Dallas Baptist in the first round and St. Edwards play Colorado School of Mines in the first round, so you don't have to play a conference opponent. When you actually dig down deeper, you look and see, okay, Dixie State only played Mines once. It was a 1-point overtime loss at home. So there's plenty for Dixie State to play for in this first round. And you look at it, and it's a team that, Dixie State matches up well against. So you couldn't have asked maybe for a better first-round matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great. It makes preparation easier. You've already got that motivation going into it that, this is a team that maybe kept you from getting that 2 seed. That's a loss. It came at a time that, Dixie really needed that win. And so Coach Judkins doesn't need to find anything to motivate his guys. I mean, this is postseason. And if it's not Coach Judkins, it's Jack Pakenkoff is going to have those guys fired up, ready to play. It doesn't matter who that opponent is. Fortunately, it's an opponent that they're comfortable with, they're ready for, they know. The film sessions are going to be easy to put together. Breakdown, scouting report, it's all ready to go. It's time to get on the bus, get to Canyon, Texas, and tip it off.
Yeah, it's a game that you go back and look at the Colorado School of Mines game. That it was one of those few that Dixie State just didn't close out. Yeah. Had a lead in the second half, slipped away, had to play it overtime, free throws. A game not unlike the game they played on Friday. So what better preparation for this matchup against Colorado School of Mines, a team that they had a subpar performance against, at least in the second half, against here at home in the Burns Arena. And that was way early in 2020. It was January 4th, I believe. What better way to prepare for that than have another game like that against Colorado Mesa on your home floor on Friday to provide all the extra motivation you need to come in and try to win this game on Saturday. Let's take a look in the remaining minutes that we have here at Dixie State's history in the NCAA tournament. And there's a reason for bringing this up, because we want to, it's a sore subject depending on who you're talking to. Dixie State has been to the NCAA tournament. We can count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times now for Dixie State, counting this year. Of those 9 appearances, the Trailblazers unfortunately have won just 2 games in the NCAA tournament, and that was 2010, 2011 when they advanced to the Sweet 16. So considering that history, what do you look at when you're going in to these matchups? I mean, you've coached with Coach Judkins. You were part of, I believe, was it the first 2 of those or just the first?
No.
So you were done. You were done coaching before the NCAA. So you just did the dirty work. You helped with the transition, and then you bounced once they were NCAA tournament eligible.
I guess they figured out what the problem was, right?
That's not what we're saying. But put your coaching hat back on here. You look at this, and you look at that record of the NCAA tournament, and you hate to say it like it's trying to get a monkey off your back, but what are the keys to kind of bucking that trend and getting that monkey off your back for Dixie State and Texas this weekend?
Well, first off, 9 appearances in 12 years.
Incredible.
I mean, hats off, Coach Judkins, staff, players, everybody. That is amazing.
Yeah, I should have been clear about that.
But when you look at it now, this last run, what does it take? It just takes focus and discipline and little things. If you're Coach Judkins, if you're the players that are there, everybody involved in that game, the little things matter. And it's one game, right? It may be a game that you're not shooting well. You've got to find something else. to compensate for it. Maybe your defense isn't clicking, and maybe the scouting report or something is off just a little bit. You have to find something and make adjustments very quickly because you don't have another chance. As that clock ticks down, that's what you have left in your season, and you have to decide and you have to make those adjustments very quickly and find something to counteract what's not working.
And for the first time this season, Dixie State is in a game because going into the RMAC tournament, they knew they're pretty much a lock.
Yeah.
For the next weekend, playing in Texas this weekend. For the first time this year, Dixie State is playing in a situation where they know, just like you said, if they don't win, they're going home.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've coached, you've been around all levels of basketball. Going into a matchup like that, how do you treat this matchup going in? Are you talking to me any differently? Are you stressing the importance of, hey, it's a win or go home? Or are you just trying to keep it even keel, same old, let's keep our routine?
Keep the routine, never too high, never too low. Just go in and make sure that communication is clear. Make sure your game plan is clear. They'll have walkthroughs, they'll have scouting report, they'll have film. Try to keep it the same. I mean, this game's still 40 minutes. It's still structured the same. You don't want to change anything preparation-wise. There's something just a little bit more special to it. You get a chance to play in that environment. Will be a special thing. Guys will never forget, but everything else should stay the same.
Good stuff from Dixie State Associate Athletic Director Mike Olson, as well as men's basketball color commentator and analyst on the TV broadcast. So thanks so much for stopping by and breaking it down. If you want to watch this game, head over to DixieStateAthletics.com, click on the men's basketball schedule, find that live video link. Also follow along on the live stats. Again, that is Saturday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. It's a high noon tip-off in Texas. Tip-off for the Trailblazers, 1 o'clock Mountain Time. Follow along as the Trailblazers go for a win in the NCAA tournament, try to make a run at this thing in West Region title. Again, he's Mike Olson. We got to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to transition to the tennis court. Dixie State women's tennis team off to a great start in the spring. They're 3-0 in the spring. We want to have Coach Eric Pelton join us to break down that 3-0 start and look at the upcoming schedule. That's coming up after this timeout on the show.
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere. And just growing up the way I grew up and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
There is a place where young and old make connections, where kids feel like grown-ups, and grown-ups feel like kids. There is a place where beauty arises in contrast, where wonder is universal, and laughter second nature. There is a place where friends find a future, families find each other, and feelings find their home. There is a place.
Radio Dixie 91.3. We don't play that. Nope, not that. A big fat no there. That's what we play. And stuff like that. On St. George's only alternative, Radio Dixie 91.3. Oh, and from 9 till midnight, we play this. I need a one dance. And this. Radio Dixie 91.3 FM.
Tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream. For the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not as they seem.
Art is long and time is fleeting, and our hearts so stout and brave So like muffled drums are beating, funeral marches to the grave. In the world's broad field of battle, in the bivouac of life, be not like dumb-driven cattle, be a hero in the strife.
Lives of great men all remind us that our lives can be sublime, and departing, leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. Footprints that perhaps another, sailing over life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother, seeing, shall take heart again. Let us then be up and doing, with a heart for any fate. Still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and to wait.
I take the road less traveled, run free, unwind, unravel, someplace outside with lots to do. Green trees, red rocks, and don't forget that blue sky. The sunshine shining, sunshine pouring on me. Think I might just stay a while. Say hooray all day because the sun is gonna shine on me. Sun is gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But I get it, you're busy, and busy people can't have prediabetes. I read that wrong. They can, okay? Just go to the site.
Back inside the Jennings Communication Building on the campus of Dixie State University. It is Wednesday. You know what that means. It's Trailblazer Weekly. Moving on in the show, talking some tennis as the Trailblazers women's tennis team 6-3 overall on the 2019-20 season, 3-0 undefeated in the spring after hosting the Trailblazer Invitational a couple of weeks ago here on the Dixie State Trailblazer tennis courts. Joining us to break it down here on the show is women's tennis head coach Eric Pelton. I should say men's tennis head coach as well. How's recruiting going along those lines? Putting a team together, getting ready to start competing this next year, right?
Yeah.
This coming fall.
This August we'll be starting up. Yeah. So no, it's exciting. So yeah, we're doing well. We've got a number signed and working on some more. So it's an exciting transition, an addition and things like that. And so, a lot of people are excited.
Just stay tuned, DixieStateAthletics.com, as well as the Trailblazer social media accounts. As more of those men's tennis signings come in, we announce those, and as soon as we have a full squad put together, we'll get it up on the website. And so stay tuned for that. But let's talk women's tennis. As again, the Trailblazers 6-3 overall, 3-0 at the Trailblazer Invitational a couple of weeks ago. Before we hit that, I kind of want to just talk about the spring in general, because go 3-3 in some games, some matches in Colorado before the break. Then you find out, a couple of your top players aren't coming back for various reasons in the spring. So now you're tasked with the task, or the endeavor of making sure you have a full team put together, number one, making sure you've got a competitive team put together, number two. So I'm sure it was an interesting kind of break leading into the spring practice. Maybe didn't know quite what you were going to get heading into that Trailblazer Invitational a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, most definitely it was. I mean, we had a young team to begin with, and again, yeah, we had a kind of went through a few bumps and that in the fall, and again, I was kind of, wondering where we were going to end up, and I mean, but yeah, then as we came into the spring, I mean, it was big. I mean, we had a number of players step up. I mean, we've got 4 freshmen starting, 2 sophomores, and so they've really kind of come forward. I mean, we went from, dropping our match 2-5 to Colorado Mesa in the fall to beating them 5-2. Just barely, and so that was kind of pretty exciting, pretty neat to see the work and the kind of the transition they've made over the last few months.
And I'm glad you brought up the Colorado Mesa match here in the spring. It's the first one of the spring. You're hosting the Trailblazer Invitational. I mean, you've got a lot on your mind because you're dodging some rain and some weather anyway, which apparently that's what we do in St. George now. Yeah. I mean, what happened to sunny St. George? I mean, the last 2 years.
Only when we have matches schedules.
Ever since we made that move to the RMAC weather would follow us everywhere we can. but I know not technically in the RMAC this year, but as they don't sponsor women's tennis anymore. But got all the matches in. That's the important part. And maybe the most important part is that starting with that Colorado Mesa match during the Trailblazer Invitational, you're down 1-0. The doubles point, it's just 1 point now. But you look at that, and the play in that doubles portion of the match was not great. They won all 3 of the doubles matches, right?
I believe so.
I think they won all 3 of those doubles matches, and we're all kind of looking around going, oh man, they just won the RMAC tournament last year. I know it's early. I think they'll be fine. And then you ripped off 5 singles wins to win 5-2 in the match. First of all, what was your message to the team between doubles and singles play? And then second of all, how did you see them implement that starting the singles matches to rally back and get that, well, I'm going to just call a critical victory to the success of this team this year?
Yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, it was a little scary coming out of that doubles. I mean, but I mean, really the message to them, and that was the thing is really it was just they just needed to just relax and play. I mean, they just needed to realize their potential. I mean, they have the ability, they've got the shots, they've got the game. They just needed to be more confident and go play their game. And so in the singles, and they didn't just win those 5 matches. I mean, they dominated them. Yeah. It was like, we went from kind of, I wasn't sure what was going to happen to, we just kind of walked right through them. And so, I knew we had chances, obviously, to be competitive and to win all of them. Even our number 1 was close and was a good match. But, they just rolled right through. And so, and it just kind of built from there. So it was definitely the best way to kind of start the spring, giving them that confidence and assurance of who they are and what they can do.
This is women's tennis head coach Eric Pelton, and I promise he's not just talking his team up right now. Let's give you those scores in that Colorado Mesa match in singles play. It was a 6-4, 7-5 loss at number 1, so close loss there. And then from number 2 through number 6 on, it was 6-2, 6-0, 6-3, 6-0, 7-5, 6-3, 6-1, 6-3, 6-1, 6-1. Absolutely. A switch flipped, and it was like, okay, we're going to win this match. And that led on now to 2 more victories, 6-1 victories over Western New Mexico and former Pac-West foe in Holy Name. So for me, looking at it from the outside, and I don't know if you feel the same way as the coach, that was a critical win, and then it propelled you going forward, and you got 2 more wins in your back pocket, and then leading up to a very close exhibition loss yesterday to SUU. A couple of points go the other way, and you're looking at a 4-3 win over SUU, and just fantastic play ever since then. Have you seen the same? Have you seen kind of a renewed sense of, okay, we can do this since those singles matches against Colorado Mesa?
Oh yeah. Like I say, I think because they're so young, those matches in the fall, I think it was a little bit of a learning curve. But even those 3 that we lost, they were the difference of a couple points. Like we still had the ability of closing and winning those. And so the big shift was that they just kind of realized, like I said, they got that confidence, realized they could win those matches. And so doing it that first match with Colorado Mesa, just they kind of helped them to kind of catch fire and realize it, and they rolled through Western New Mexico, Holy Names, and then as we even kind of move up to some stronger competition, they were right there. We were right there toe to toe with SUU. Had our shots and came up a little short, but still it's they know we're coming. They were scared yesterday.
And good measuring stick to know, hey, we just we're going to tweak this and this and this, and then when we're Division I and on the same level next year, look out.
Yeah.
Here we come.
Yeah, definitely. And like I say, because we're young and got nowhere to go but up.
Nowhere to go but up. I like that. Let's talk spring roster. You mentioned it a little bit, but you've got, 4 freshmen on this team.
Well,
total?
Yeah, five
total.
5 freshmen.
And 3 or 4 of those really contributing and participating in each match.
Yep.
You've got returned missionary, an LDS returned missionary, and Sabrina Longson, who she was probably planning on coming back and playing, maybe starting in the fall, but necessity arose. We need a player, and she jumps right back into it, and she's playing just as well as anybody on the team right now.
Yeah, I mean, she's taken off. Yeah, so I mean, she got back. January 3rd. We started practice January 6th, and so we went right into it. And I mean, initially she'd talked about wanting to redshirt, this spring and just kind of get back into it in the fall. And I mean, it kind of ended up where we could use her and needed her. And I mean, I talked to her and I was like, it's going to come back a lot quicker than you think.
Yeah.
And I mean, and she's just, she can't be stopped. So I mean, she just keeps climbing the ladder.
And she's playing doubles with her younger sister right now, and Caitlin.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty fun to see. I mean, I came out and watched that match, and it was a good thing Caitlin had a pair of earrings on, because otherwise I couldn't tell them apart. I mean, they're not twins, but they might as well be twins, because you can barely, if you don't know who exactly they are, it's when they're out there playing doubles together, you're going, they got two of the same people out there. But talk about that dynamic and making that choice to have them play doubles together and knowing that you got sisters out there playing alongside each other.
Yeah, I mean, they do. They like each other. I mean, ultimately, it's nobody else can play with them. No, I'm just kidding. No, but again, I mean, obviously, they're not twins, but I mean, they've grown up together. They've played tennis together their whole life, and so one, it's just, I mean, it's kind of a neat opportunity for them. But then two, it is because they do know each other. They know each other's game. I mean, they have that silent communication that, I mean, typically you'd have to play for years to kind of get with, kind of get in the groove, get in the sync, with somebody else. And so that's just kind of a neat, fun opportunity for them. And I mean, and they're enjoying it and really kind of taken with it.
I'd be remiss if I didn't name those freshmen that we're talking about by name. Emma Templeman's been playing at the number one spot, been playing fantastically. Anna Peterson has been playing amazing so far. Caitlin Longson is one of those freshmen. Alexandra Hildreth playing amazing. You got a sophomore in Juliana, and I'm not going to even pronounce her last name because I don't want to mispronounce it. But how do you say it? How do you say her last name?
Hang Suruk. I hope.
Okay, there you go. We'll roll with it. But these underclassmen are all playing fantastically for you this year, and it's just been fun to see this young team excel. And obviously, no quote-unquote conference title to play for this year, but you get to play at most of those same schools, and it's fun. So
yeah, it is. I mean, and it's like I say. I mean, I have my expectations, obviously, but from where we were in the fall to what they're doing now, like, I mean, it's even above what I really even kind of expected. I mean, with how young they are, they've all of them. I mean, they've just come in, they've stepped up. I mean, and they've taken it. I mean, then they've run with it. I mean, there's a few things we're still tweaking on the doubles, but reality is I mean, they're doing some amazing things, and so it's exciting. And we're gonna have our unofficial conference tournament still.
That's right. Because you go to Denver. Yeah. You're gonna go to Denver here in a couple of weeks. I mean, you're basically gonna play MSU Denver, CSU Pueblo here in a couple of weeks, and then you go back to Grand Junction and play MSU Denver, Colorado Mesa, and CSU Pueblo. So yeah,
just like last year. It's not official, but yeah, we'll be there.
It'll be fun. So one thing we'll keep. We got to run a break here. We're past time, but we'll kind of keep a close eye on that Northern California trip as well, with everything that's just. They just announced that no fans were going to be allowed at the NCAA tournament, and so we'll keep a close eye on that, and hopefully that's able to go through. But safety first, right?
That one's getting a little sticky, but luckily I don't have to make that decision.
Exactly. We'll keep everybody updated on that as well. He's women's tennis head coach Eric Pelton. Trailblazers off to a great start. Thanks so much for stopping by. Probably ran over here right after practice, so thanks so much for stopping over here. We got to take our final timeout. When we come back, I will let you know what we have selected this week as our Trailblazer Weekly Game of the Week, and then we'll wrap up the show, put a bow on the show. Back after this on Trailblazer Weekly.
1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother. You, your football buddy, your football buddy. One in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother. You, your football buddy, your football buddy. You, the boss, the boss's boss. If 1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes, that means it could be you, your barber, your barber's barber.
Nice work. Thanks.
You, your plumber,
Breathe right into your foot.
your plumber's masseuse.
Yes.
You, your dog walker,
On your left.
your cat jogger. Or you, your co-pilot, your co-pilot's co-pilot. While 1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes, with early diagnosis, pre-diabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org to know where you stand.
I have a backpack.
请所有的同学回到座位哈。3。
Kevin, get our curve reader. And there's the bottom.
Does this one have more water?
Hey, Kevin, you thinking about retirement?
I'd love to, but I'm pretty busy with all this.
Yeah. Hey, let's meet our retirement coach, Avo. A is for taking action.
Not anxiety?
No, Kevin, you're gonna be fine.
You sing?
Barely. V is for variety.
And you dance?
Sort of. Come on. O is for optimize your savings.
Let Avo lead the way.
Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
Nice.
Thanks.
Where do you find the titans of classical music in St. George? Classical music on Radio St. George, 100.3 FM. Where do you find the legends of jazz? Evenings on Radio St. George, 100.3 FM.
I take the road less traveled, run free, unwind, unravel someplace outside with lots to do. Green trees, red rocks, and don't forget that blue sky. The sunshine shining, sunshine pouring on me. Think I might just stay a while. Say hooray all day because the sun is gonna shine on me. Sun is gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps! Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
This graph is square.
Pretty close.
Artemisia is all the sage brushes, but there's your needle and thread. Which one is this?
Come down. Perfect. Great. Sodium carbonate.
Today's show is brought to you by Rock Canyon Bank, serving Utah businesses and agriculture for over 25 years, with locations in Pleasant Grove, Orem, Provo, Spanish Fork, Fillmore, and at 94 East Tabernacle, right here in St. George. Rock Canyon Bank, back to banking. Member FDIC, Equal Housing.
Welcome back inside Trailblazer Weekly one final time as we wrap up the show here on this Wednesday afternoon. Want to give a big shout out to all the people who help on the show and who've stopped by the show today. I always do that at the end of the show, and I can never you never get it in. We're up against the hard out break at the end of the show. So we want to give a big shout out to our CEC TV crew, the production crew, and all the students for helping out. Big shout out to Martin Kelly back in our Radio Dixie 91.3 FM studio. At least I hope that's who's back there today. I think big shout out to whoever's back there for getting us on the radio side and keeping us on all day and all through the show. Big shout out to Mike Olson stopping by, chatting Dixie State men's basketball with us, and then as well as Dixie State women's tennis head coach Eric Pelton discussing the Trailblazers' great start to the spring. Time now to wrap up the show with our Trailblazer Weekly Game of the Week. And this was a tough one. It is every week, especially now when you've still got so many sports going. Conference play is now going for not only basketball, but for softball and for baseball, and tennis is in the thick of their schedule. Men's, women's golf have opened now. This was a tough one, but ultimately it came down to what means the most this weekend. Softball is hosting Colorado Mesa this weekend, so that was tempting. But then when you stop and think, we're in postseason play in basketball now, and the Trailblazers are in the NCAA tournament, taking on a conference foe in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So it was a no-brainer when you stopped and you looked at it like that. Our Trailblazer Weekly Game of the Week this week is Dixie State men's basketball team traveling to Texas to take on Colorado School of Mines in a neutral site matchup between Dixie State and Colorado School of Mines. Now, the Trailblazers getting the 3 seed in that South Central Regional. For those of you that aren't quite familiar or just need a refresher on how it works at the Division II level, because we're used to seeing the big dance, the Division I tournament, where you get thrown in a hat, and they try to keep you regional and make you not travel too far, but they're kind of scattered all over the place. In Division II and Division III, they try to keep it more regional, more centralized. So the top 8 from each region go, and the top seed in each region will host an 8-team regional, and then those 8 winners will go and play an Elite 8 at one neutral location. Well, West Texas A&M is hosting the South Central Regional, and they are the 1 seed. I've lost just 1 game all year. That's in Canyon, Texas, near Amarillo in Texas, if you need kind of a geographical point where that's at. Trailblazers taking on Colorado School of Mines. And as you heard Mike and I talk about it earlier in the show, Dixie State dropped an 80-79 loss to the Orediggers against Colorado School of Mines inside the Burns Arena on January 4th, right after the calendar had turned to the new year, in a game that Dixie State held a 1-point lead in the second at halftime, and then was outscored, was tied going in during the second half, and then in overtime outscored by 1 to Colorado School of Mines, 80-79. In that game, Hunter Schofield, Jack Pagenkoff went off. Dacy Youngblood had a big game, but they allowed just a little too much. 11 3-point makes for Colorado School of Mines in that game, and it was a great game. And we expect another great game in Canyon, Texas on Saturday. That game will tip off at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. High noon down in Texas Central Time, but 1 p.m. Mountain Time here in St. George. Actually, I've been saying that wrong all day. It's 11 a.m. 12 in Texas, 11 a.m. Mountain Time. I've been saying 1 o'clock all day. We are not ahead of Texas. We are an hour behind them. 12 p.m. in Texas, tip-off for that 11 a.m. Mountain Time tip for that Dixie State men's basketball matchup against Colorado School of Mines. Mark your calendars. Watch it. We'll have all the updates on the website as well. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Carrick Sagmiller. We'll see you in 2 weeks. No show next week for spring break. Go Trailblazers.